Imagine this: you treat someone with disrespect, completely underestimating them, only to find out later that they hold the key to your future. This is the powerful story of Charlotte Brooks, a woman whose quiet determination and clever thinking turned the tables on an entire corrupt company. Get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and settle in for a story that's about to show how karma works its magic. Equinox Industries, one of New York's top tech companies, looked flawless from the outside. Inside the sleek skyscraper, deals were being made, people were rushing to meetings, and high powered employees hurried around with an air of importance. But beneath the polished exterior, there were some serious cracks. And one person, Charlotte Brooks, was about to find out just how deep they went. To most of the people at Equinox Industries, Charlotte was just another cleaner. Someone there to scrub the floors and empty the trash. She wore the standard uniform, a blue shirt, black pants, and sneakers. Her hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. But what no one knew was that Charlotte wasn't just a cleaner. She was the founder of Equinox Industries, the woman who had built the company from the ground up. A few years ago, Charlotte had handed over the reins to her older brother, Henry Brooks, who acted as CEO while she took a back seat. Charlotte's decision to stay in the background was deliberate. She wanted to observe how the company was being run without anyone knowing her true identity. She was determined to see things with her own eyes. It didn't take long for Charlotte to realize that Equinox Industries wasn't the company she had hoped it would be. And at the center of everything that was wrong was Ethan Clark, the CEO. He walked around the office like he owned the place, and in a sense, he did. But his arrogance and disregard for others were soon going to cost him everything. Ethan's first interaction with Charlotte was typical of his attitude. He saw her cleaning the hallway one morning and decided to make a remark. "You missed a spot," he sneered, pointing to a perfectly clean patch of floor. Charlotte simply nodded, trying not to let his attitude get under her skin. But Ethan wasn't done. He made it clear that he thought people like her were lucky just to be in a building like Equinox Industries. "Don't screw this up," Ethan added, looking her up and down. Charlotte, staying calm, didn't take the bait. She knew who she was, and she wasn't about to let a man like Ethan get to her. But this was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Charlotte witnessed more of Ethan's behavior. He belittled his employees, ignored their needs, and used his position to intimidate people beneath him. Worst of all, he had a specific target in mind: Charlotte. Ethan would often lurk around the office, making lewd and inappropriate comments to her. "You're too pretty to be a cleaner," he'd say, his eyes gleaming with condescension. "If you play your cards right, maybe I'll find you a better job." But Charlotte didn't bite. She kept her cool, even though it was clear that Ethan was only getting worse. He wasn't just making comments anymore. He started cornering her in the hallways and break rooms, trying to pressure her into meeting with him after hours, offering her promotions in exchange for her compliance. One day, Ethan went too far. He cornered Charlotte in the parking lot after work and said, "If you don't meet me in my office tonight, I'll have you fired by tomorrow morning. And trust me, no one else is going to hire someone like you." Charlotte's heart raced, but she didn't flinch. She stood tall and met his gaze. "I'm done playing your game," she thought. It was time to end this, for good. She needed to reveal her identity and bring down the corruption that had taken over Equinox Industries. The very next morning, Charlotte arrived at Equinox Industries. But she wasn't wearing her usual cleaner's uniform. This time, she wore a sharp white blazer, black pants, and heels. Her hair was styled neatly, and her presence commanded attention. The employees who had once ignored her now looked at her with curiosity. She was no longer just the cleaner, she was someone. Henry had arranged for a special board meeting that included the entire management team, including Ethan. When Charlotte walked into the conference room, Ethan didn't recognize her immediately. He looked at her with confusion, And then that smirk of his returned. "Are you lost, sweetheart?" he asked. "This is a board meeting. You're not supposed to be here." Charlotte didn't answer. She simply walked to the head of the table, stood beside her brother, and waited. The board members exchanged confused glances as Henry stood up and addressed the room. "Before we begin, there's something I need to share," Henry said, gesturing to Charlotte. "This is Charlotte Brooks, the true owner and founder of Equinox Industries." The room went silent. Ethan's face drained of color as the reality set in. Charlotte stepped forward and addressed him directly. "For the last few months, I've been working undercover as a cleaner," she said, her voice calm but full of authority. "I wanted to see firsthand how this company was being run, and what I found was incredibly disturbing." Ethan tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. Charlotte continued, her eyes locking onto his. "You have harassed me, misused your position, and failed to uphold the values this company was built on. And that ends today." At last, Ethan found his voice. "Charlotte? Miss Brooks? I didn't know. I had no idea." Charlotte cut him off. "Exactly. You had no idea who I was, but that doesn't excuse how you've treated me or anyone else here." Henry stood beside her. "Effective immediately, Ethan Clark. You're fired, and you won't be leaving quietly. Legal action is coming." As security escorted Ethan out of the room, defeated and humiliated, Charlotte turned to the rest of the board members. "To those of you who've acted with integrity, your jobs are safe. But to those who contributed to the toxic culture here, there will be consequences." Several other members of the board and upper management were let go on the spot. The room was filled with shock, regret, and fear as Charlotte announced the names of those who would be dismissed. When the dust settled, only a few remained. Charlotte looked at them, her expression one of quiet confidence. "Equinox Industries will be a company of innovation, respect, and integrity. We will rebuild." From that day forward, Equinox Industries flourished under Charlotte's leadership. The employees who had once laughed at the cleaner now admired her and respected her. The company was stronger than ever, and the toxic atmosphere that Ethan and the others had created was finally gone. Charlotte had claimed her rightful place at the helm of the company she built. Justice had been served, and karma had done its work.